And welcome, everyone. I'm Bill Newell, MSO News Sports, joined by Phil Stacey, Matt Williams, Nick Giannino of the Salem News, and Nick Kukuru of the Gloucester Times, talking some North Shore football. And we'll touch on some other local topics as well and beyond the local area in our 30 minutes together or so here. Two big football stories, I think, over the weekend. Not the only two, but two big ones. Big win for Peabody as they knocked off Beverly 17-10 and Ipswich with a very powerful 33-7 win over Linfield. Let's go first to Peabody. I don't know who wants to pick up on that, but they went over to Beverly, picked up a win. But that was a strong win for the Tanners that are now 3-1 on the season.
Willie, I'll defer to you. I can talk Ipswich if you want to do Peabody.
I mean, you were at the game. They won.
Yeah.
Their first win in the city of Beverly since Bill Clinton was president. So that's nice. I mean, I know Coach Betts asked you after the game, hey, when was the last time we beat Danvers and Beverly in the same season? And, with the asterisk that they did not play Danvers and Beverly when they were pretty good, in between World War I and the Bush administration. Why don't you tell us what you found?
88 years. Yeah, kind of crazy. Right before Prohibition ended, that might have been the straw that broke the camel's back right there when they beat Danvers after beating Beverly. They said, the hell with it. Let's get rid of Prohibition too, make it a threefer here. No, you know what? Impressed by Peabody. In fact, I hope I can tell this story, Willie. I like to get to the games early, 45 minutes or so early, watch the teams warm up, see if I can spot anything that might be helpful to me earlier on. And I'm watching Peabody, their linemen go through drills, and I'm watching the quarterback, Shea Lynch, do little routes with his receivers. And I called Willie and I said, "You've been playing possum on me here?" And I'm paraphrasing. He says, "What are you talking about?" I said, "These guys look unbelievable. They got size, the quarterback's throwing pinpoint passes, everything's on a dime, and they really came to play in the second half. First half was a little bit of a tractor pull, a lot of punts, not much field position for either team. Teams couldn't move the ball. Second half, Peabody really, I thought, took over. There was some injuries for Beverly, which didn't help them, but don't look at that as an excuse, for why Peabody did what they did. Peabody was just better in the second half. They had a lot of push up front. I thought they gained a lot of chunk plays that they needed to. Return of Drew Lucas to the lineup helped. Big tight end, senior, came back off of football this year. He runs a little arrow route around the right side, gets the outside linebacker to bite, gets past him. Lynch hits him in stride. And he takes it the rest of the way in, bowling over a defender at the goal line, driving over the pylon, getting in. And then Peabody uses the ground game to make it 17-3 with behind Kyle Maglione, the captain, who, what did he miss the first couple of weeks, Willie? Is that right? It was only the second game back, I think.
That's correct. Yeah, that's right.
So he's not a big kid either, but he ran some tough yards, kept those legs moving. And defensively, I just thought Peabody was on a hot day, on a warm day anyway, for April. I get my A's mixed up there. They withstood the heat, and they did a really nice job. I thought Nick Vecchio had a real nice game for Peabody. Kicker's got a real big leg, Joe Swan. He booted a 37-yarder pretty easily right before the end of the half for a field goal. Another missed opportunity for Beverly. I'm not saying that they played better, but the opportunity was there for them to pick up a W, and they just weren't able to respond. But a lot of that credit goes to Peabody. Peabody played real tough when they had to. And it's not as though, hey, anybody who reads the newspaper or follows us knows that Matt does 98% of the Peabody games. And, he's the Peabodyologist, especially when it comes to football. So I don't see them more than once every couple of years. But based on what I see on film or what I read about and Willie talks about, this is a much improved team. And I think this is not a one-year thing either. I think they're going to continue to get better because of the young guys they have in place.
Well, we've talked about Peabody, we've talked about team one, team two, then we've said, and let's include Peabody into the mix, but this week they really float to the top with their performance. They'll play Gloucester next, and Nick Kukuru, we'll get to that in just a moment, their game against Gloucester this coming weekend, because we want to talk about Gloucester as well in a moment. But let's go to the Ipswich game. I was stunned by that final score. Ipswich 33, Linfield 7. We talked the other week on the podcast that Ipswich might have thrown one or completed one pass going into this game against Linfield all season, and they threw 2 touchdown passes in the win against Linfield, and won convincingly. What happened there, Phil?
Well, I mean, you can't glean everything you need to know about a team going to one practice, certainly. But when I went to Ipswich practice last week, and it's ironic that some of the same players I talked to on that Tuesday told me after the game on Friday it was the worst practice they had all week. He says, "Oh, after you left, the coach was really upset at us. We had to run for mistakes we made, things like that." So I said, "Jesus, that was your worst practice. No wonder you came out and won big." They looked pretty good to me when I saw them, and I can't say I'm surprised at the result. I haven't seen that practice. I felt like, boy, this is a team that's pretty good. Maybe the margin of victory was a little bit surprising, but I'm not surprised they won. It's a senior-laden team. Up front, they have some big mobile linemen that work very well together in sync. They were driving back a decent-sized Linfield line all night. Good size, but not huge on the Linfield side. And Ipswich had the edge there, so they used that edge to their advantage. And Ipswich didn't have one of their 2. They really have 3 running backs, but I'll say like their 2 primary ball carriers. Chase Huntley, they held him out this week, hoping he'll be able to go. They held him out last week, hoping he'll be able to go this week at Manchester, Essex. And they put the bulk of the responsibility in Captain Cole Terry's hands, and the running back says, "You're going to get a lot of carries. We expect you to move the chains, get us downfield." And that's exactly what he did. Shy of 20 carries, 154 yards, season high. Got him into the end zone one time. Also threw a halfback option pass for a touchdown to his classmate and fellow captain, Justin Brum. And quarterback Aiden Arnold also hit him for a touchdown pass. That's Justin Brum that he hit. So Brum with 2 touchdown catches. Great work by the Ipswich defense. Cade McAdams had a great game for them. I thought Alex Yannikakis played very, very well. Drew Weil on both sides of the ball. I mean, hey, look, it's Ipswich, it's Cape Ann League. Like one of the, I think it was Jack Weil said after the game, hey, we're Ipswich. We're not flashy. We don't throw the ball over the place. People don't want us to win, which I thought was kind of funny. He's like, that's what we're here to do. We just play smash mouth football up the gut. They run belly. They run the buck sweeps. They don't do anything fancy. They just say, stop us. And Linfield couldn't on Friday night. And Ipswich is now 2 games away from an undefeated season.
I want to go to Marblehead. They are also undefeated right now at 5-0 with a 40-0 win over Danvers. We talked about Marblehead quite a bit in the last few weeks, but Nick Giannino, you were at that game Friday night. Possibly a very complete game for Marblehead, I understand, against Danvers.
Yeah, absolutely. Never a question in that one. I think they jumped out of the gate early, and Danvers just didn't have any answer offensively. The Marblehead defense was, whether it was the secondary getting in, deflecting a pass, or the line coming in and putting pressure on the QB or stopping the run. I mean, Danvers just couldn't get any first downs. And, on the other end, Marblehead's going to make you pay. I think we've talked about him a lot now. Josh Robertson, the quarterback there, he had probably one of his finest games as a magician in the blowout there. He was 16 of 19, close to 200 yards, threw for a couple touchdowns, ran for another. So he's really coming into his own over there. And I think I saw Danny V put up the top 25 poll for the football, high school football, and I didn't see Marblehead on that list. So I was a bit surprised because I've been pretty impressed with what I've seen from them. We talked a little bit about the line as well. They were really impressive, and that's a group that's largely undersized in most matchups, but they've been getting after it. They're physical, and they just know how to play the game. Rudloff has them ready. The coaching staff has them ready to go. So they've been kind of overachieving in terms of at least their size up front there. Like I said, they were stopping the run with consistency, and Danvers was hurting a little bit. They get some guys out. Obviously, they still without their starting quarterback there, Darren McDermott. So they were kind of shuffling a few guys in there. They had a freshman in there. They had a junior in there as well. But neither guy could really get anything going. They had a couple decent deep balls, but never amounted to anything. So impressive win for Marblehead, and it's a game that they really were looking forward to. I was talking to Rudloff. This senior class hasn't had the chance to play Danvers at Piper Field in Marblehead.
Yeah.
They went there to
mentioned
Danvers.
You mentioned that in the preseason. It's like, how do we end up playing in Danvers 4 straight years?
Yeah. So, I mean, the kids, that's something on the back of their mind. They'd obviously love to do it at home in Marblehead, but they got it done on the road in a big way, and they're kind of rolling through this season right now. So we'll see. I don't know who's left on their schedule. Phil, you could probably help me out there, but
they're at Masco. They're at Masco Friday.
Yeah, at Masco, and then at Swampscott on the pseudo Thanksgiving Day.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so a couple good tests for them down the stretch here. I know Masco's been playing pretty well. They had a big win over Salem, but I really like what I see with the Magicians. Rudloff up to 101 career wins now for him.
That's it, 101.
101 in 28 in about 10 years, not bad. So he's got that program continuing to go in the right direction.
Yeah, he's going to put a little. Go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say that's got to be. I mean, I know I didn't see them in the Sweet 16. I didn't see the top 25, but that's got to be a top 25 team in the state, Marblehead. I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
If they're not in the top 16, I could understand that. You got a lot of undefeated teams, Division I teams, whatever, but there's not 25 teams in the state that are better than them, I don't think.
No, we love Danny V, but I think you should take a look at the Magicians if you're watching this, Danny.
Of course he's watching.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Hey, Danny,
Yeah.
let's say hi to Danny V. All right. Now, Gloucester lost by a touchdown to Winthrop, and they played them pretty tough. Nick Kukuru, tell us more about that game. I thought Winthrop might be a heavy favorite going into that game from what we've seen in the past, but go ahead.
Yeah, I thought so too, and it was looking that way earlier. And Winthrop got out to a 21-0 lead, in the second quarter. And now Gloucester kind of chipped away and battled back a bit. You have to give them credit. I mean, a year ago they probably would have lost that game by 40 points. This year they kind of took their experience, their lumps from a year ago, and kind of got themselves back in the game a bit. It was kind of a bend but don't break defense that did it for them. Winthrop drove into the red zone every time they had the ball, all 8 possessions, but Gloucester got 3 turnovers and a stop inside the 20 that kind of kept them in the game. And those weren't unforced errors either. They kind of earned them a couple nice interceptions from Aiden Cornetta, and then he recovered a fumble as well. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I was more impressed with them on Friday night in a loss than I was in all 3 of their wins. Winthrop is a real team. It's a legit team. They probably should have beat Tech Boston, should have beat Salem. They beat Saugus. Saugus kind of, handed that one away early. So, it was good to see them kind of in a spot where their backs were against the wall and they at least got themselves back in the game. And, it does show just how far they've come in the last year because they were not competitive against teams of Winthrop's caliber a season ago. So, I mean, that was nice to see.
Yeah. And now Gloucester plays host to Peabody. Doesn't get any easier for them this coming weekend, does it?
Yeah, and they'll have to be in for another physical battle. I know this past week I thought it was the first time for Gloucester where it was the spread that they run came in handy. Winthrop kind of shut down their wing T. Their leading rusher, Frank DeSisto, who was one of the leading rushers in the area coming into the game. He was out with a concussion. So Gloucester had trouble running, but they spread things out a little bit. They hit Aiden Cornetta up the slot a few times. They got another touchdown on a fade to Jaden Del Torchio. So I think they're going to have to show a little bit more of that against Peabody this week because that's going to be a tough physical game. They're going to have to show some balance to be in it against Peabody.
I want to jump to one game, and then I'll let you guys pick it up the rest if you want. But Hamilton won them, shutting out Manchester Essex 28-0. We have not talked too much on this podcast this year about the Generals. I know they've been getting a lot of coverage either on the website or in the Salem News and so on for sure every week. But tell us more. Anybody want to weigh in on that game or on either one of those 2 teams? Matt, Phil, Nick.
Well, I wasn't at the game, but I know Mr. Carter Coffey had a big game under center there. He's really coming into his own. I know Jim Pugh was saying, he wish he had him for the full 4 years. He's a soccer player, and there's a good relationship with the soccer coach, nothing there, but he would have been a pretty good get for the past 4 years throwing the ball. He's a big body, he can really sling it, and he can move. What did you see from him, Willie?
Well, I think it reminds me of last year a little bit with Hamilton Wenham, and it reminds me of his brother Ian. I mean, if we remember last year, Hamilton Wenham had a tough first 3 weeks, and then we looked up around Halloween time, and it was like, holy Moses, Ian's got 2,000 yards from scrimmage and 15 touchdowns or whatever, and Carter's doing the same thing, and granted Carter got hurt early, but I think that's just a sign of coaching that Hamilton Wenham is always a team that gets better as the season goes along. Unfortunately, this season's not as long, right? So they had a little less room there, and they only have the one game left against a unbeaten Ipswich team, provided there's no COVID in the Cal. I mean, so they all scheduled a bye week, right? So if somebody drops off this week, Hamilton Wenham's ready to fill in with that game, right? But, I mean, let's assume that doesn't happen. They got 2 weeks to prepare for Ipswich, and would be remiss not to talk about Ryan Monahan. I mean, this is a guy that's the best receiver probably in the thing I love about watching him play is he doesn't just out muscle defenders. He doesn't just win with his athleticism. He runs really good routes, and that tells me he's going to be really good in college too. Cape Ann League Player of the Year, Baker in basketball too. So just a great weapon to have. I mean, they got the ball at the 21-yard line with about 14 seconds left in the half, and they were just going to take a knee. And Carter said to Coach Pugh, let me throw one. Let me throw one deep. So they did. They ran it up out wide. Unfortunately, it was single coverage on Monahan with only one guy to beat. Carter put it about 60 yards in the air. Ryan ran under it, and the next thing you know, it's a 79-yard touchdown. So, if Kevin Coach Fassette's watching, I'm sure he doesn't need my advice, but I'd put some safety help over there on 22.
Pretty seamless connection there too between the two hoopsters. Carter Coffey was running the point for them this year. Ryan Monahan down low. They hooked up a lot. Marcus Norton's another guy. He's been playing really well. He was on the hoop team. Marty Cook, the running back. So they got some natural chemistry there, just carrying over.
And they almost got Ryan Hutchinson to play, but he decided not to get ready for baseball. So that would have been another weapon for them. Coach DiMarino would have been really excited.
You mentioned, Willie, that Monahan being one of the top receivers. I think we got a lot of good receivers in the area this year. That's not to take anything away from Ryan, but you look at Jackson Delaney at St. John's Prep. He's having a great year for St. John's. You have who is it there at Essex Tech? Why am I getting his first name?
Dooley.
Thank you. Yeah, Jace Dooley. Who's got some nice chemistry with Devin LeBron, Stefano Fabiano, and Jake Connolly over at Bishop Fenwick. James Duty at Marblehead has played really well. A lot of guys, I think, and who had 3 touchdown passes? Was it Hammerling for Swampscott had 3 touchdown passes? 3 touchdown receptions.
Yeah. I mean, Swampscott's doing it. Andrew Augustin still hasn't played a game, and Swampscott's, just rolling up on people. It'd be nice to see them get a challenge here. Hopefully, Beverly can give them a challenge because, the schedule hasn't been. I don't think the schedule's given us a good barometer of how good Swampscott is. We'll put it that way.
Is Augustin supposed to be back this week? I haven't heard yet.
I don't know. I mean, he was supposed to be back initially for the first Danvers game, but that was 5 weeks ago. So I don't know if he's ill or something else going on in the school or if he's hurt or what. I don't know. But I didn't see him out there at all. Against Saugus either. So not sure what the story is there. We've had conflicting reports from a variety of sources. We'll say
that Beverly plays at Swampscott Friday evening. So that's the Swampscott next game is one of you guys kind of mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got in the conference, you got what? Peabody at Gloucester. You got Beverly at Swampscott. You have Marblehead at Masco, which I think will be a better game than it was 2 weeks ago when they played in Marblehead. I think it's another rematch. Salem at Saugus Saturday morning. And who am I forgetting?
Danvers at Winthrop Friday night. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
and Winthrop's undefeated right now. So as
Yeah.
we talked about them, but we didn't mention the undefeated piece. So we got to make sure we sneak that one in there for sure. Maybe one other football note or two, but I got, you got St. Mary's and Fenwick winning over the weekend. The Prep fell to Xaverian, and the Prep will be back in action at Tewksbury on Saturday afternoon in their next game. But anything else you guys want to weigh in on, anything on football, either last weekend or looking ahead to this weekend, or some other notes?
Let's give a little tease. There's one person watching we knows, but anybody who might know the score, the last time St. John's Prep played Tewksbury in football, it's a very interesting score. And you can see it, in the paper probably on Friday in one of our notes. It's a very interesting score, one that perhaps has never been duplicated in North Shore history.
I'm going to go with 2-0. Was it a 2-0 game?
No, that's a good
A lot
guess.
of 2-0 games way back 100 years ago, Nick. Well,
Yeah.
I shouldn't say a lot, but there was certainly games that were won 2-0. But
I would say 4-2 is even rarer than 2-0. You know what I'm saying?
oh, absolutely. Yeah.
42, that'd be pretty rare.
3 safeties would be much more rare than 1, but no, that is.
But
not
that's
the,
6. That's 6 though, Phil. I think it's 6, isn't it?
Well,
I may be wrong on that.
Two on one side, one on the other for 4-2 is technically 3 safeties. So Phil is correct. That's tough math.
Oh,
right
I'm sorry.
there.
Yeah. Okay. Oh man.
But yeah, this is definitely out of the. I don't know if you follow on Twitter during the NFL season, scoregami, which is like a score that's never happened in the NFL before. They're always giving the odds on like, it's Patriots lead Buffalo 25-11. It's got a 98% chance of scoregami, that kind of thing. This is definitely one of those scoregami type games.
Hey, I got to. I'm going to switch it up a little bit here. Don't usually talk college hockey much, but I used to be at a lot of college hockey games years ago. Have not been associated with it lately, but man, you got to be excited for UMass Amherst for winning that national title. As weak as we are in college basketball in New England, I really thought BC might have a real shot this year at the national title, but that wasn't the case. They went out to in the quarters, I believe, overall quarters. But anyways, so wow, UMass Amherst with that incredible semifinal win with the players out, and then beating the defending national champs and then winning. So that's just a great story for them. And then maybe you guys want to weigh in on either the Red Sox, Celtics, or Bruins. Phil Taylor Hall now with the Bees.
Yeah, I don't love it. I mean, a lot of people do.
Could have used him last night in that 8-1 game.
Yeah, well, he probably would have fit right in the way he's played this year, Would have been about a -4 and, 1 shot on net. I don't know. I mean, hey, they didn't give up much, which I think tells you what the trade market was for him. And, if he can find some chemistry with David Krejci on that second line, that's great. I'm not expecting miracles. I think people tend to have short memories with this stuff. He's the #1 pick. Yeah, he scored 39 goals with New Jersey, won the MVP a few years ago. But in the here and now, he's looked like a pretty unmotivated guy who had a lot of trouble scoring. So remains to be seen. Then again, the Bruins have had a lot of trouble scoring. If your last name's not Bergeron or Marchand or Pastrnak, he's been having trouble lately. So, we shall see. They didn't give up much, so hopefully it worked. And if not, they'll be golfing earlier than they wanted to be this year.
Nick G, what about the Celtics? Big win against Denver this week.
Big win, yeah. They keep pulling us back in. They're hanging around. They're right there. They still got a shot at maybe the 4 seed. If they can start to play when they play well and they play as a team, they're tough to beat. But it's just the consistency and the offense, whether or not that's flowing. You get Jason Tatum going for 53 points, but he might have a night, 2 games from now where he shoots 6 for 25 and he's chucking threes first shot in the shot clock. So it's tough to get a read on them. They really haven't got a lot of run with the new guy, Evan Fournier, yet. He went right into the COVID protocols after a couple games. So see what we get with him, but definitely a huge win out in Denver. They were down about 16 points in the third, and I think they closed the game on like a 40-8 run or something stupid. So great win for them. Maybe they can use that as momentum. I feel like we say that all year, they get a big win. See if they can build off it here. But I'm not getting my hopes up. I still think they're a couple players, a couple years maybe away from competing for a championship again, but they do have some talent. If they can start clicking offensively, stranger things have happened. Yeah, they're in a decent spot right now, so we'll see how they go down the stretch here. We're coming up playoff race time, so.
Yeah, I think it was like a month or two ago, they had the top one or two seed locked up, but now that wasn't the
Yeah.
case. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else, gentlemen?
Red Sox, what do we got? 6 in a row now? 5 in a row?
6, I think.
Next Monday,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Monday's game
JD
postponed.
Martinez making our early case for MVP.
Wiz?
JD,
Yeah.
he's got what, 5 homers? I think he has like 8 straight games with a double or something stupid.
Extra base hits. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
up. He's an extra base hit in every game.
Every game, yeah. And his average is like up near close to 500, I think. Obviously, that's unsustainable, but they're getting a lot out of him. Rafi Devers is coming along. So it's all going to come down to the pitching, I think.
Took Martinez in our league. Oh, yeah, that was me.
Yeah, there you go.
After last year, it didn't look like that good of a pick though, but yeah.
No,
yeah.
No.
We
But
bounced
the
back.
video's back. He's back.
Ah,
He's
well,
back.
I don't know about that.
Now that he can watch the videos.
Yeah.
He's
I won't be
back.
smashing the TV with his hammer or anything. But hey,
Yeah.
if they get us through the summer, keep us engaged until until Tom Brady's slinging it again, that works for me.
That's all we asked for.
Yeah, a week ago, we were figuring out, I'm thinking, what else can we do this summer other than baseball, because it won't be worth it. But what a difference a week makes for sure. Yeah. We got like, let's say we got 4 minutes left here, 3-4 minutes left. Any other sports, anything else happening in your areas you guys want to touch on? Nick Kukuru up in Gloucester. I mean, we're actually in this transition time here now, right? Where other spring sports are starting up here, even while football is going, right? Or trying to start up.
I think the Pingree School, which hasn't really done anything this year. I mean, there's been a smattering of what, they have a couple basketball games, Nick, and I know
Yeah, they played a few weekend scrimmages. I don't even think it mattered. It meant anything, but yeah, they haven't done much at all.
But they're starting their spring season in earnest this week, so we'll be previewing those teams. And glad to see the Highlanders getting back out on the field. And as far as the MIA schools, they'll be starting up in 2 weeks from today. So, hey, my man. Thanks, bud. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Little interruption. Yeah, they'll be starting 2 weeks from as we record this on Monday here. So, be gearing up with baseball, softball, tennis, lacrosse, the outdoor track that's supposed to be outdoors. So, looking forward to that as well.
Kooks, anything?
Well, yeah, I mean, Gloucester boys track, they clinched a share of the NEC South this weekend, beat Swampscott in a close one. So they're 3-1. They lost to Peabody in a tight one out of conference, but they've knocked up great in the South, and now they can clinch it outright Thursday at home against Salem. So it's looking pretty good. For the Gloucester boys, they got a pretty well-rounded lineup, bunch of sprinters, middle distance. They're pretty spread out in talent, and they had a pretty solid season.
And that Peabody squad is really good, and I think that meet came down to the relay. So
yeah,
they were right there almost.
Took it. So yeah, they have a pretty good team. Andrew Coelho, who was the best player on their soccer team, he's a middle distance ace. Owen Hardy, another soccer star, is one of their distance runners. Kai de Guzman, their top sprinter. So they got some talent, in pretty much every event.
Matt Williams, you want anything to share here at all?
Yeah, what's going on with wrestling? They haven't approved it yet, so we'll keep our eyes on that. See what happens, if there's allowed to be spring wrestling outdoors or not. Seems to be an ongoing situation there with the MIAA.
Got to figure it out soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the 2 weeks. I mean, these guys deserve an answer. I mean, I haven't studied the science. I don't know what the right answer is, but I think, they deserve an answer, whether it's good or bad.
I'm going to circle back to close it out circle back to one game to take a peek at this weekend. That's the Beverly at Swampscott boy football game. I think we always look at comparative, scores and, the final score, what the margin is, who wins, who loses. And we've been talking about Swampscott. They missed a few games. In fact, what's their record right now?
2-0. They've outscored
Yeah,
their
two,
opponents 82-6.
just 2-0, undefeated. But this will be a nice test for them and give us a little better barometer of where Swampscott is this year, and Beverly and Swampscott, as a matter of fact. So I'm looking at that game, looking for how that plays out on Friday night. So, gentlemen, on that note, great seeing you again, and we'll talk again soon.
Hey, Bill.